Damn.
Yep. Coming up on episode 224 of Edge of the Web, we're talking HTTPS, why The Guardian pulled out of Facebook Instant Articles, and we'll discuss Google's Project Owl. Plus, we have Casie Gillette of KoMarketing to talk about how to create a customer-driven content strategy and how to combine social media and search. All this and more today on The Edge.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, alongside Tom Broadbeck, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
Sorry, I'm not Aaron. I'm Tom.
Aaron.
But good afternoon. Welcome to a special edition of Edge of the Web. It's our NFL pre-draft coverage show here on Edge of the Web.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Who's going number one?
It'll be a surprise.
Okay.
But we're going to discuss
surprising.
it. We're going to break it down over the next hour. But no, seriously, we're talking digital marketing. This is Edge of the Web. We're broadcasting live from Edge Media Studios located here in downtown Indianapolis. Every week we're bringing you the latest trends in digital marketing by talking to some of the top leaders and influencers in the industry. So if you want to catch up to any of our past shows or anything, please visit edgeofthewebradio.com. We've got several interviews with some good people there. So check those out at edgeofthewebradio.com. The show is brought to you by Site Strategics. So we're a digital marketing firm located in downtown Indianapolis, specializing in agile digital marketing. So if you have any questions about our offerings and what we have at Site Strategics, please visit sitestrategics.com. Again, I'm your host, Tom Broadbeck. I'm Director of Digital Media here at Site Strategics, and alongside me for today's show is Nate Torvik.
Hi.
And he's our Chief Strategy Officer, or Chief of Strategy, I guess.
I don't know.
Do you want the officer title?
I really like the officer title.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that.
It's like
in
that
there.
Lil Wayne song that you know nothing about, but that's fine.
And on the phone from Beantown, we have Casie Gillette. Hi, Casie.
Hi, guys. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show. How are things in Boston today? I know the weather's been bad a couple days for us. I have an old coworker that's a weather gal over there in Boston, so I'm still following her on Twitter, so I could see Boston weather updates on Twitter all the time.
It's the worst because it's always different. It's not fun, and maybe someday spring and summer will be here.
Yeah,
I'm not holding my breath.
But they have really good cannolis, I'm told.
Really?
That's true.
I love cannolis.
Yeah, my
I did not know this.
My brother-in-law went to Boston College, and there was a place somewhere. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never been to Boston, but
The North End, probably.
Okay.
The North End.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. There's a place in Baltimore that my mom she'd go to Baltimore. I have an aunt and uncle live in Baltimore too,
Right.
and she'd always bring back cannolis from this place in Baltimore. That's the best. I love cannolis.
that's good to know. That's what it is to know digital marketing today on the NFL pre-draft. However we went with stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, Are you a Patriots fan?
Oh, no.
No.
I actually grew up in Rochester, New York, so I'm a Bills fan.
Oh.
It's a tough life.
Yeah, so you're a Jim Kelly fan. You're not.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, you're not a Tyrod Taylor fan yet. Well, you might be working on it, but
Let's see if you can stick it out more than a couple of years, But as a Bills fan, you just learn, don't get your hopes up. So
I have a feeling that's like half of the NFL anymore. Like out of the 32 teams, really 16 of them are like, maybe not this year.
I'd say that's the hardest part of being in Boston is not being a Patriots fan.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, so we're in none of us are Colts fans, but we're here in Indianapolis too.
True.
And if you mention the word Boston or Tom Brady here in this town, you might get who knows what will happen to you. You might end up on the news.
Couldn't even think of anything bad to say that would happen.
It'll be that bad.
You'll get a nasty letter in the mail.
Somebody will tweet at you.
Somebody will say something.
This entertaining segment of Edge of the Web is brought to you by SEMrush, the world's leading competitive intelligence keyword research tool, trusted by over 1 million online marketers every day to give them an edge over their competition. If you want to see exactly where your competitors are advertising online, then head over to semrush.com. That's semrush.com/edgeoftheweb, all one word, and they're compressed together for a 14-day free trial. So that's a great tool. We use it all the time. Nate uses it on a regular basis.
I use it on the daily, as the kids would say.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
Not in my
I don't know
toolbox
if that's
anymore
what
since
they
I'm more in
say.
the video sides now. But back when I was doing a lot of SEO, it's definitely lots of cool reports and neat stuff in there. So definitely sign up there, semrush.com/edge of the web. So let's find out what's hot off the press in today's web world.
I was very excited to start my reportings.
This week's trending topics.
All right, our first article is written by a handsome gentleman sitting here in studio talking right now.
Dr. Pete Myers.
Oh, no, it was written by me.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
HTTPS is now composed of 50% of all page one search results. Dr. Pete from Moz, the marketing scientist at Moz, who we had on the show. It's a great show. Go back and listen to that one. I just published a blog showing that the number of Google page one results that are HTTPS have crossed the 50% mark. For a study, he tracked 10,000 popular keyword phrases. And while he didn't see any drastic jumps during the study, 9 months ago it was only at 30%. So it's just been a slow, steady increase of people adopting HTTPS.
Well, and the crew here at Site Strategics has been pushing HTTPS for as long as I can remember, just because we knew it would become a hugely important indicator for organic rankings and all that other fun stuff, even if they're not going to tell us that it technically is or what have you. Yeah,
and one thing that Dr. Pete mentioned in that article too, which I thought was interesting about some of the websites, the top 20 websites that are still not HTTPS, among which are Target, Home Depot, Best Buy.
That's one of the first things that I look at now. I work here, so I guess that kind of makes sense. If I'm telling people to do it, I would look for it. But, it's just something that I notice. I'm not going to close out a Target because it's that, it's the red circle. I can't get away from it. It's always staring at me. But it's absolutely something that people notice almost immediately. And so it's really important for any business, large, small, Target, otherwise, to really secure their websites. And it's super simple, too.
Yeah. Casie, any thoughts, comments there?
Yeah, I was interested to see that it was at 50. And part of it is because it has been a slow adoption. But I'm with you, Nate. We've been recommending this for a year plus now, right? Especially clients. We have a lot of clients who've been redoing their sites.
Yep.
And we're B2B. So we don't even have a lot of e-com clients, but even for these sites that, they're not selling anything, I still think it's in their best interest. What I will say is that for several of our clients and internally, switching to HTTPS hurt us in search.
Yeah.
We did see some negative results. And so, I've read a lot about that and experienced it firsthand. And I think it was the Times who had done a piece maybe last year about how they were slowly rolling it over sections at a time. And I thought that was brilliant because of everything that's involved with it. And so, I get, I'm ever since, we saw some negative results from it, I've been a little bit gun shy to have people jump right into it. But I still think it's so important. And, to the point, what I really liked about that article that you had written was around, the fact that until all of these companies adopt, what will the number like showing in search results really be?
Yeah, I think Dr. Pete, in his article too, he mentioned that he reached out to, how do you say his last name? Is it Gary Ish? Right? Ish? Yeah. He reached out to him on Twitter and
Oh, you mean how we always say Gary Ilias? Yeah. Okay, that's fair. But I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about, but then you said Ish and I have no idea.
Yeah. So, he reached out to him on Twitter because that's part of their algorithm and see if there's going to be a boost in that feature in their algorithm, and the answer is no. Because it's still 50%, and if they were to turn that on, you'd see some major movements there.
Yeah, but the answer to any question that you ask Google is will this influence that? The answer is almost always no, and then it does anyway because they don't want to tell you anything.
Yep.
But anyway, not that we're bitter or anything ever. I mean, people who work in the SEO realm, we're never mad about stuff like that, but that's fine.
But I think what you just said is a good point, right? As people who are really pushing for this, secured search, it's like, all right, if we do this, are you then going to say in 2 months, just kidding, you don't need that?
Well, that is what they do like to do, right? I mean, that is welcome to Google Plus.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still going to pull that one until the day that I die.
Things.
Yeah. Still waiting for AMP to maybe kind of sort of drop off the face of the earth. And then with the Facebook instant article stuff. And
yeah, let's jump into our second article here. This is from DigiDay by Jessica Davies. The Guardian pulls out of Facebook instant articles and Apple News. We've talked about AMP and Facebook instant articles frequently on the show. And her article starts out about saying publishers aren't happy with the deal platforms are cutting them. Now, The Guardian has dropped both Facebook's fast-loading instant article format and will no longer publish content on Apple News. They had gone all in on instant articles, running every single Guardian article via the format for the last year, and it was one of the first UK media owners to adopt the Facebook format in 2015. But now they're pulling it. The statement here from media spokesperson said, "We have run extensive trials on Facebook instant articles and Apple News to assess how they fit with our editorial and commercial objectives. Having evaluated these trials, we have decided to stop publishing in those formats on both platforms. Our primary objective is to bring audiences to the trusted environment of The Guardian to support building deeper relationships with our readers and growing membership and contributions to fund our world-class journalism." So,
that's a lot.
That's a good quote. Long quote.
That's a good quote. Good quote.
So, any thoughts there, Casie?
You know, I'm probably not the right person to ask because I just don't love Facebook.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't either.
Personally, I don't use it as much as I use other platforms, but, for businesses, which is what we're talking about, for my clients, again, I don't push them there, given the other avenues. That has diminished, right? Over the past 5 years, you hear people consistently talking about how their presence on Facebook and their return on Facebook has diminished. And, I know the instant articles was built to help with that, but to the point of The Guardian, and I think we'll see it with AMP as well, they're not in it for free, right?
Sure.
They need to be getting money from it. And so when you keep it on Facebook or even with AMP, right, a lot of it stays on Google.
Yep.
How do these publishers deal with that? So, it'll be interesting to see the route that people take, but, was I surprised at this? Absolutely not. I mean, Facebook is trying to do more, but, we tell our clients now, if you're going to be there, you got to pay. So in most of the cases, it's not even worth it for them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And a little further down in that article, they have The Guardian is a huge proponent of AMP. That's what I thought was surprising. And they had actually even spoke at the AMP conference earlier this year talking about how much they loved it. And what they said, they revealed 60% of The Guardian's Google referred mobile traffic is coming in via AMP. So
it works for now.
Yeah. Well, we've discussed AMP a lot on the show. So we had a great conversation with Michael King.
Stuff for AMP, our clients.
Oh, go ahead, Casie.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know if you could hear me. I was breaking up a little bit.
You're good.
So, what we're seeing, we had implemented AMP on one of our clients' site, and within a month, the sheer amount of organic traffic going to those pages from mobile just jumped.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the results from it. And, I also think it's not difficult to implement. A lot of these CMS systems are taking it into account. For some of the larger sites, I know that's not necessarily the case, but again, for a lot of our clients, it's worth it. And we're pushing that as well. But, again, in 2 months, is it going to be like, okay, we're doing something else here, guys?
Yep. Time will tell.
Yeah. One thing I wish with AMP and Facebook, I just wish it was easy to implement.
Yeah.
It's like
it is a little.
We've had it on Edge of the Web for the longest time, but we always have errors, and I'm not the best coder in the world, and I have to bring in a developer to get it done. And I just wish it was just an easy click.
Right. Even the WordPress plugin.
Yeah. Even the WordPress plugin
environment, it's just not quite there yet.
Yeah. So our third and final article, Danny Sullivan wrote a very lengthy article here in Search Engine Land. Google's Project Owl is a 3-pronged attack on fake news and problematic content. He's written a lot of articles, a lot of articles recently about the what do you call it? Problematic searches is the term that he's coined here, about how Google's has a lot of problems with fake news and just the featured snippets are just terrible as well. So this article kind of breaks down what Google's calling their Project Owl, and Google's launching the Project Owl's featured in 3 different sections. So they're implementing a new feedback form for search suggestions, a new feedback form for featured snippet answers, and they're giving a new emphasis to authoritative content to improve search quality.
Well, and then Google's also doing that fact check kind of tag that they talk about that I referenced in an article that I wrote a couple of weeks ago that they're going to start including that as kind of a quote unquote verified source if you're able to include some of that stuff, and it's based on third party voting kind of and other things of that scenario. But it's just seems like they're rolling a lot of this stuff out lately to try and clear a lot of the clutter away. And to Casey's point about Facebook and maybe liking Facebook sometimes, that's one of the biggest issues that I have with Facebook is the amount of crap content or just crap in general, not even content, just crap.
Yeah.
Just like a field of crap that I can't see around. But get that image out of your head. But so those, it's just I'm happy that Google's doing something about it. Yeah. I'm hopeful that other people will follow suit in very short term, especially from a Facebook standpoint.
Yeah, so if our listeners don't know what we're talking about, well, at least with the autocomplete section, was it December? Yeah, last December, The Guardian, which we just talked about earlier, published an article talking about some of these search suggestions that are just blatantly false. So, for example, the autocomplete here is, did the Holocaust happen? Did the Holocaust happen during World War II? Did the Holocaust really happen? Yahoo. And then, so now, if you were to search something like that, there is a report inappropriate results button link that you can click, and you can report that to Google for anything that pops up. And there's with the featured snippets, Danny had a video of him posting a question he asked, "Are women evil?" to his Google Home, and it was not an appropriate featured snippet.
I don't know, Tom. Why don't you tell us?
You can go watch the video by yourself.
Oh, okay. On your own time? No,
yeah, we won't play it on the show. But what thoughts?
Your wife's not listening right now.
She is not listening.
I mean, Casey is, but that's fine. Yeah, but that's fine. How about Casey answers that question? What do you think? And to the I'm not going to say to the Holocaust point because that sounds terrible too. Wow, we just can't get away from this stuff. But
we got to keep this one moving here.
Yeah, we talked about that. I'm pretty sure that search in particular about a month or two ago, and it was there are actually, of course, those conspiracy theorists that are out there that actually think that the Holocaust wasn't real and that it was fake. So it's actually a legitimate search. So my curiosity is going to be around some of this stuff when people start to tag it as inappropriate or offensive or whatever. If it's a legitimate search and there is a legitimate audience for that content, where's the middle ground with some of that stuff? Because would I find that search offensive? Yes. Would probably some people that live in rural areas maybe think less so? I don't know. I'm not that I'm stereotyping rural people, but that's just the kind of stuff that I think you get into. And we talked about Google maybe policing the searches a little bit too much dependent on that stuff and trying to appease the masses and things of that nature and make search work for specific groups of people. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good point. And I think maybe as search marketers, we're a little bit jaded because, when things come out like a report inaccurate news or report with this feedback button, I don't see that for the average person who's doing a search, right? We notice that button as search marketers, but to me, it's more important for the authority to play a role and more important for the people behind the scenes at Google to take care of that, because I don't know how many regular folks are Googling and then being like, oh no, this isn't right, or this news is fake. That's the whole issue, right? With the Facebook thing is that people don't know they're looking at fake news. Yeah. So, is the average searcher then going to find this little small text that says report inaccuracies? I don't think so. Yeah. Then I also think about, as search marketers, who's going to figure out how to game this for their own benefit. But we still are seeing things. So, even aside from just this, the other day, I had tweeted out something about featured snippets and how they're now showing images from different sources than the thing. And apparently, everyone else had already seen this, so
right.
I'm a little behind. But it just goes to show they're really still trying to figure this all out.
Yeah.
They're on this mission to get everyone to stay in Google, right? We're going to give you the answers right here. Well, that problem becomes when that information isn't right. And I think they have a lot more work to do beyond just fake news to ensure they're giving people the right answers.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you had to say there?
No.
I
think I got it taken care of with Field of Crap.
Well, I guess I forgot to mention earlier in the show that we're broadcasting live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube. This is the first time we're broadcasting live on YouTube. So
it's the first time we're on YouTube and you forgot to mention it.
I know. I can't believe it.
What? And
so if you're listening to this podcast, definitely we broadcast live every Thursday at 3. So be sure to tune in on our Facebook. We'll be doing YouTube here henceforth.
Yeah, every time moving forward will be not the first time that we've done it, but that's fine.
So definitely check us out on Facebook Live. And if you have any questions or anything for us throughout the show, leave a comment there on Facebook and we'll try to squeeze them in here. So also sign up for our newsletter. Go to our website, edgeofthewebradio.com /newsletter. You can sign up there. You can just sign up in the little form there at the bottom of the page, or you can text Edge Talk to 22828. And you can sign up with your text messaging there. So let's dive deep with this week's featured guest.
Now it's time for our Edge of the Web featured interview with Casie Gillette, Senior Director of Digital Marketing at KoMarketing.
There you go, Casie, deep voice guy. How's that sound?
Yeah, his voice is like made for radio.
I know, but it must be a sweet life, right?
I know.
Like, oh yes, pay me to talk into a microphone and do some audio mixing.
Yeah, so right. I think I remember this. It's not him, but the ESPN guy, the deep voice guy for ESPN, is like the heaviest smoker, just so he can keep that voice.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's probably. But he is no longer a deep voice guy, probably.
So
for various reasons.
So Casie Gillette's joining us here. She leads digital marketing strategies for the clients at KoMarketing. She's the senior director of digital marketing there, and with over 10 years of experience in the industry, she speaks regularly at SMX, SearchLove, PubCon, and most recently the first time at HeroConf. So first question we always ask every guest is, how'd you get your job?
Oh boy. Well, first I have to thank you for saying my name right. No one ever says it right. So
do they always say Casie?
They always say Casie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and KoMarketing. No one ever knows how to say KoMarketing. So you automatically win points.
Yes. What do we get?
Yeah, air high five.
Yay!
Done. No, we can't both have one. She only gave one. God.
I'll hand some more out later. I think like most of us who started, 10 plus years ago, SEO wasn't a thing that I even knew about. So I had moved down to North Carolina and I was bartending and I thought, gosh, I should probably get a real job.
It sounds an awful lot like how Aaron got into SEO.
And that whole real job thing was just, ugh. So I had been doing this and this was in 2005. So, online dating wasn't a big thing. And so I started doing this, work for this online dating company. And I had to go to clubs and hand out flyers. And it's as awful as it sounds. But
it doesn't sound awful. What are you doing? That sounds great. Why did you ever leave? Why would you ever leave that job? I don't understand. You get to go to clubs.
Yeah.
You get to hand out pieces of paper for a company that you don't believe in. I don't see what the problem is.
Pretty ideal.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, but the guy that I actually worked for, he moved on. He worked at an SEO company, and so he had reached back out and said, "Hey, do you wanna interview for this job in SEO?" And I said, "Sure. What is SEO?"
Yep.
And that's how it goes for most of us, I think. And here we are, 12 plus years later.
Right, talking about it like it's a something they teach in colleges,
yeah,
which they don't still.
Right?
And one thing you failed to mention, being a born Buckeye, you went to Marietta.
I did.
In the Buckeye State, so you get major props from me for that. So.
Ooh, another air high five.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time in Ohio.
There we go. Why Marietta? You grew up in North Carolina. You went to Marietta.
I actually grew up in Rochester, New York.
Oh, that's right. You said that. Yes.
I refused to go to a state school.
Okay.
So no reason, right, other than being a stupid teenager.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
That's a reason.
that's obviously the reason. So they had reached out to me, and I was able to play, basketball there. So
Nice.
that was the main thing, and it was far away from home. So
Always a plus.
yeah, always a big thing.
Are they what? Are they Division 3?
Division 3.
Yeah,
yeah.
D3.
That's what I thought.
So
What's their math? Is it the? Hold on, I'm
I
gonna
can't
come up.
believe you guys know this.
Well, so I actually coach club volleyball, and I'm sending one of my girls to play at. She's going to play at Marietta.
Oh,
Her dad went
nice.
to Marietta. Are they like the Blue Raiders or something? No,
I don't
You're
know.
close. Pioneers.
Pioneers.
Yeah.
I know it's blue.
You're
and I-
thinking of Mount Union as the Purple Raiders.
Oh,
and-
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's totally what I was thinking of. Of course,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that because Tom obviously didn't. But
I just know Marietta. It's Southeast Ohio.
Right.
So I grew up in
Yeah.
Springfield, which is near Dayton
Okay.
on the west side.
Yep.
and my mom's from Toledo, and my dad lives in Columbus. So
Buckeyes
we've got-
everywhere.
yeah,
We're everywhere.
Ohio is everywhere, no matter where you go.
That's true.
True. That's why it looks like a heart.
It's the heart of it all.
Yeah.
That's what the license plates say.
That is
Hopefully.
accurate. Yep. Anyway,
So tell us a little bit about KoMarketing and what you're doing there.
Yeah, absolutely. So KoMarketing is a B2B digital agency. And I actually, when I first moved up here from Carolina, I worked here. So I had found this job, and I thought, this sounds fantastic. And, when I was here for about 3 years, and there were, 4 or 5 of us. And then I left to go in-house, and I just couldn't get enough. So I came back about 3 years later, been here for another 5 years, and now there's about 25 of us. So it's been really cool, to watch the company grow. And, we're a mix of, SEO, content, paid search, social. It's been interesting. We've got our toes in some display advertising now. And, just watching the company evolve and the programs evolve has been crazy, right? I mean, I think that's one of the things we always talk about is how this industry changes, and it changes quickly.
Mhm.
And for an agency that, it's been around for 12 years or so, it's pretty impressive that, it's not only evolved, but grown. And we've had a lot of the same clients for those 10 years, which is, crazy.
that's saying a lot usually.
Yeah. Yeah. So cool company, run by a couple really great guys that I've known. And the founder, one of the founders, Derek Edmonds. So I joke that I'm following him around in life because he grew up about a town away from me, and he moved to Raleigh. Then he moved to Boston. And so he likes to joke and be like, do you like my life?
Because this is great.
Yeah, it's going to be you in a few years.
He worked for the same online dating company. No.
Yeah.
He wishes he worked for the same online dating
Who
company.
doesn't, right? I made it sound so awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
So Casie just spoke at SMX. It was called Creating a Customer-Driven Content Strategy. So I thought maybe we can break down that presentation a little bit. Talk about that presentation there.
For sure. I mean, one of the things I love about they've modified the SMX shows a little bit, and one of the things I loved that they had this year was this customer track, which to me is something that the search industry has really been lacking.
Mhm.
We talk about the search engines, we talk about users, we don't talk about customers that
Right.
much. So
They're not real people after all.
they're not people, right?
No.
Right. We're just selling to these imaginary people that
Right.
are out there. So, we've talked about content for so long, and there's only so much we can say about it, right? Like even I get bored hearing myself sometimes.
Yeah, it happens.
What I really liked about this customer track was we just talked about, I broke down how we can actually create content for things our customers are asking. And we have these resources now that document what customers are asking, right? Whether it's Google Suggest or Answer the Public, places like that, FAQ Fox. There are these tools now that are showing you this is what people are asking. So you need to create something around that. And I also think people just don't have the resources, the budget to create, a ton of content, and they don't need to.
Right.
What they need to be doing is creating content that their people actually want to read, their customers.
Right.
So I was pretty excited about that. I got to go before Dwayne Forrester. So, I think that made people come watch me.
Yeah. That would, yeah.
That's a plus. Yeah. I was like, yeah, put me before Dwayne. That'll be great.
That'll be great. I will say that we looked at your slide share earlier, and I was like, I have no freaking clue what this talk was about. It's a bunch of pictures of monkeys and stuff. Like, what did she even do?
I go back and forth with myself on that. Like, it offers no value.
Right. I'm like, monkey, yeah. Mr. T again, back to monkeys. Okay, cool.
You see how my brain processes? But
I loved it. Yeah.
I did write a blog post about it that recaps it.
Right,
to go
right.
Slide share.
Yeah, so anybody who wants to check out this talk, don't do the slide share. Read the blog. Yes, read the blog. Don't do the slide share. Unless you just want to be entertained. Yeah, I really enjoyed the question of what ended in 1896, and it was 1895. That's probably like my favorite answer to any question that it's absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah, and partly what I was trying to do was take people through this idea that even the decisions we make, and those monkeys, what you couldn't tell, they were actually people going to SMX. And so what I wanted to look through was what are the decisions we make in something as simple as that, right? We're asking, what marketing conferences do I go to? And you're asking your friends, and then you're thinking about hotels, and you're thinking about your travel arrangements. And throughout all of this, you need content.
Yeah.
You're looking at content. And so as a business, how do we base what we're doing on that, right? How do we actually follow that journey? And so, again, I think that in search, we don't talk enough about the customer. And that's really what my goal was there.
Right.
And monkeys.
And monkeys. who could be customers?
They could be.
Yeah,
like, let's not leave them out of it. But
so where do companies start? Where's the best place for them to start?
That's a great question. And I think it really it has to be figuring out who are your customers and what are they looking for. And so, I always think back about something as simple as keywords, right? And I know that people hate talking about keyword research, and I know that people hate focusing on keywords, but like, how else do you find what people are asking? And so, Will Reynolds gave this fantastic presentation at HeroConf. And one of the things he pointed out was, you can't hear intent or you can't hear intonation in keyword research. But I think it goes to that research you need to do to understand, well, what are the different intents associated to those keywords? So, I hate to say it, but it always just starts with those keywords and figuring out what people are actually looking for. What content do you have? I think that's something that people always forget to look at. What do you have and what's working? We spend a lot of time repurposing content for clients because they've already spent so much time putting it together, and then they just forget about it. People do webinars, and you guys get 1 million emails about this webinar, and then you never hear anything about it again.
Yeah. Right.
Well, what else can you be doing with that? So I think it goes down to understanding, I think from a starting point, what should you be focusing on? So what are those things that people are searching for? And then what do you have and what do you need?
Yeah, and I think to your point about the keyword research, a lot of people have gotten into a scenario where it's not as trendy, it's not as cool, it's not, we talk about the buyer's journey and the awareness level and the decision making and the evaluation periods and stuff like that, that it just gets into a scenario where, we're kind of forgetting the basis behind, if keyword research had never started happening and people hadn't really worked on it, the rest of this stuff wouldn't have there probably would have been no evolution. So it's almost sometimes you have to go back to the start of it and really focus on, yes, we should probably still lead with that from a keyword research standpoint, just to understand, what people are looking for. And then you can worry about who those people are. But if you don't start with what they're trying to find, it's really, really difficult. Who cares about who they are because you have no idea what they're looking for.
Right. And I think that's a really good point, is that it's not trendy anymore. But I also think the way that we do keyword research has shifted, right? We rely so much less on, the keyword planner, partly because it kind of sucks.
Right. And yet it is the thing that everything else is built on.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. It's the inescapable truth.
Yeah. So, that's shifted. But at the end of the day, it's still really important to your programs to understand how people are looking. And to that point, they're not just looking on Google. Where else are they looking? They're looking on social. They're looking, on Facebook, maybe.
Only a little sometimes.
Other places. I know, I'm just crapping on Facebook. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm right there with you. We're good. Field of crap.
You have to understand, like, it goes beyond just Google and where these other places people are.
Yeah. So Casie Gillette, Senior Director of Digital Marketing at KoMarketing, is joining us here on the show. So you got your keyword research. What content are you looking to do with that keyword research? Like, so are you just we need an awareness piece of content and this keyword fits it, or kind of explain that process there?
Sure. Well, I think that we need to understand, again, I was asking, what do you already have?
Yeah.
So what do you have and what part of the buyer journey is it already covering? I did an analysis for a client recently because we've been working with them for a couple years now. And it's like, okay, we've done a lot of stuff, but what's missing? And so I essentially took, our top key terms, some of our top content, and I mapped it to that buyer journey to figure out where are our gaps. What aren't we covering? Based on some of these keywords, like what do we have and what don't we have? Where does it fit in the buyer journey? A lot of times I think as search marketers, we focus on that top of the funnel. And we get caught up there. I know I'm guilty of it.
Sure.
I know that, we think a lot about blog posts, and that usually covers a lot more of the top of the funnel stuff. But, in doing this for the client, I realized, like, we're not doing enough with people who are already customers, right? We're not doing enough to retain these people, which we know it costs a lot less to do than to acquire a new one. So, to your point, I think, of that question, what's next? I just made it sound so easy. Just look at what you have.
So easy. Just do it. Why are you guys struggling? Why is this a problem? I don't understand.
But yeah, you need to understand, here's where my buyers are searching. Here's what I have. Here's what I don't have. And then start mapping what that content is. To tell someone, well, you need a white paper or you need a case study isn't as simple of an ask as, let's put up this landing page, for sure. So, figuring out the prioritization of that is also key.
Yeah.
Trying to see how many buzzwords I can fit in here.
Yes. I don't even know. Content marketing, social media, Facebook. I don't know what those aren't even that buzzy. No.
So in your presentation, you mentioned a bunch of tools. We love tools here. So
we have a problem with tools.
We do. We have a quarterly meeting with our CEO to cancel tools that we.
At least maybe monthly, weekly
to jettison. So we have a tool. We have a tool habit of buying. It's a drug for new tools.
It's like that show Hoarders, except
there we go.
Somehow I think it's more expensive. Because you can't just pick up random stuff off the street and put it in your house. No. You have to pay for this stuff.
Yeah. So what were some of those tools that you mentioned there?
SEMrush. So, when you guys were talking about how much you love it, I talk about it all the time. It's the best, right? It just does so much. I legit use that every single day. But I will say, if not ahead of that or equal, is BuzzSumo. I use that, initially when that had come out, it was primarily around like content and social. And it still is, but to me, there's just so much you can glean from it. For competitive research, for, not just content research, but even going back to your keyword research to see, what are people talking about. Mm-hmm. We use it for link building, for finding opportunities for clients. I use that all the time. And they also just came out with a new tool called Bloomberry.
I saw that. That was one I hadn't heard of before.
Yeah, so same people who did BuzzSumo, and essentially it's similar to an almost like an FAQ Fox. I don't know if you guys had used that at all, but you put in a specific keyword phrase, and then it just scans the places that are talking about it, and so it has core threads and other forum threads. But what's really cool about it is it distributes it based on like intent or theme. So it'll give you these different opportunities. And so again, I've used it for content generation ideas. So, what are people asking in these various places? But once you create that content, you now also have a place to distribute it or to answer it. So I really liked it. It's free right now. I think it's in beta still. But basically just like anything the BuzzSumo folks do, I'm like, yep, sign me up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I also think I had put in there, it was a month ago and it feels like it was so long ago. So you may have to tell me what I talked about.
Keywordtool.io was one tool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I like to put that one in there because it does Amazon and YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I think there's something to be said about that because how people search in those places is different than how they search on Google or in Bing.
Yeah.
And so specifically around the YouTube, you tend to see these longer phrases, right, where people are asking pretty specific questions. So that's why I tend to include that. It's not free, right? So they have the paid version of it, but you can even still get some pretty decent free data. They just don't give you like search volume, which is fine. Like you get into those long tail terms and Google's not going to show you search volume anyway.
Right.
So I like that one. I think I put Answer the Public in. That's become a new one. I actually saw, Perna from Bing was talking about voice search. I don't know if you guys have followed her at all. She does these amazing presentations on voice search. But she was talking about how as you're thinking about optimizing for voice search, to look at places like Answer the Public to see how people are asking questions.
Yeah.
And then gearing your content toward that. Yeah, I've been seeing that tool come up a lot, which the guy on the front is super creepy, right? Like, I don't understand that.
I want to reach out to Answer the Public and be like, hey, who is that? And can I like buy him a beer or something? Like, I just want to know.
When I saw it the first time, I thought it was like a beer website. It looks like a Guinness guy.
He's in his sweater hanging out.
Yeah. I think that would be great. I just want to talk to that guy and see what his life's all about.
I don't know, but I'm just like, I gotta get out of here. Like,
right. I need to type something super fast so I can hit search. Please get me away from this man.
That's right.
Yeah, he might be watching me.
Those are really some of my primary ones that I'm in all the time. We use Moz a little bit less so now, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's okay, but some of these other tools, I think SEMrush just really did a great job. Just kind of exceeding all of the things that were happening.
Yeah. For sure.
So, and I did see that Raven got bought, which is great.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah, just like yesterday, I think.
Oh, wow.
So we used to use their tool a lot, although
we used to use their tool back in the day too. But
Yeah.
That was one of the ones we cut.
About?
Do what?
I said, are there any good ones I'm missing in your toolbox that I need to know about?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. I mean, we use cognitive SEO a lot for a lot of our inbound and link analysis kind of stuff, and as well as pretty much anything. We use Rival IQ for a lot of our social media reporting and things of that nature. We've also used stuff like Social Bro, but I think we killed that one. I don't know. We pick up 5 and I try to cut 3 and stuff
we
like
just
that.
We just picked up BuzzSumo.
We had BuzzSumo and then we didn't have BuzzSumo and now we have BuzzSumo.
Yeah, so we need to dive back into that tool.
Yeah, and we've also tried to use other tools, outreach tools like PressRush and things of that nature. Yeah. Those are a little bit more, we like BuzzSumo a little bit better because it is a more streamlined, simpler platform than PressRush. It doesn't feel as, I don't know, slimy as a PressRush does, I guess. I don't really know. Like it's created for so much more than just outreach and trying to connect with people, whereas those other ones are just created to talk to people and sell them cars and other stuff.
We still use BuzzStream for a lot of our outreach stuff, which is kind of the same, has its few key things. Although they do have the email finder tool.
Oh, yeah.
I just love stalking people on the internet.
Yeah, it's totally legit. So anybody who wants to know, Casie likes to stalk people on the internet.
I like to stalk people on the internet. Comes from the online dating background.
Exactly. Maybe the guy from Answer the Public. Yeah. Actually, if you're so good at this stalking thing, maybe you can find out who he is and tell us who he is.
I should already know the answer.
Yeah, that's probably true. You could ask the public or answer, whatever. I don't know. Use it. Just type in who is the guy on Answer the Public and maybe it'll provide you something.
Sounds like a good blog topic.
Yep, let's do it.
So you also just spoke, was it 2 weeks ago, maybe, at HeroConf? Was that a couple weeks ago? Yeah. That's more normally a PPC conference, so I was kind of interested to see you there.
Me too.
So your presentation was called Search and Social and Intra and Interdisciplinary what mashup checklist. So talk about that presentation you did.
Yeah, so I actually did that with Megan Tagger of AimClear, and she's so fantastic. So I would give her credit for 85% of that presentation. But yeah, it is a paid conference, and so my role was really to talk about the social side of things, and the paid social side of things. But as we got into the presentation, and so the way that it was aligned was thinking about how can your different teams work together, right, to integrate, integrate, another buzzword, but to make your marketing programs better. And so we started looking at, well, here are some things that they're doing on the AimClear side. Here's some things we're doing at KoMarketing, and here's how they work together. And so we tried to look at not just like from a paid search perspective, but we tried to look at, okay, well, taking some of your social data, how do you integrate that with your PR campaigns? And how do you take your SEO data, right, some of your target keywords, and make sure that your social team is monitoring those and targeting those? So, one of the things we talked about that I didn't really think about, and she had outlined this way, was how you actually get your teams to do this, because we make it sound so simple, right? You read marketing blogs and they're like, oh, just tear down your silos. Like, no.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's not how it works. So we just broke that down. Here are some ways that your teams can work together. And one of the points that we just touched on was, what are your goals and what are you actually reporting on? I think that's a really great place to start thinking about it, because we all sort of have different goals. And so until you know how those align, like, what's the point in sharing your data if it's not even going to be useful to them? And so, yeah, again, like I don't go to PPC conferences. So it was pretty cool to just, listen in on the different sessions and, hear, I listened to one on paid ads for YouTube. And even for me, I was like, oh man, I can use a lot of this just like in general content marketing. So, it's always interesting to hear the other side of things. Like, oh yeah, I can use that too.
Right. Because there is a lot of cross-platform kind of stuff that you can use and just pick up on.
Yeah, so one of the things we'll include here in the show notes is you had this checklist. It's a Google sheet, the search and social integration checklist. So kind of talk about how people can use this checklist in their marketing.
Yeah, and so I think that's a good point. And so again, thankfully for me, Megan put that together. But basically, it just breaks down. If you're actually thinking about, how do I integrate my search and social teams? Here are the steps you need to take. Here are some of the things you need to think about, whether it's the technology that you're using, the reporting you're using. How do you make sure that how can you get automated reporting going? And so I thought it was just a really nice breakdown of, okay, if you're thinking about this, here are all the things you need to factor in to really be successful at it, because it comes from the top down, and I think that's one of the things we tried to touch on is integration isn't easy, and so you need somebody at the top saying, here are the things that we need to be doing and we need to be thinking about.
Yeah, I like the measurement and reporting section things, just all the things that need to result from this. So can back-end data pull through? Is it going to be a template or a custom? Can you confirm the goals? Can it be measured? Can you afford a reporting solution? So I really love that breakdown. We'll include that in the show notes there as well. Any other interesting? We haven't been to a HeroConf before. We've been to an SMX before, but
that's the one in London, right?
Yeah, they rotate it around, but it's the Hannapin group.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was just really well-run show, both from like a logistics perspective, but also a lot of the speakers. They had Will Reynolds do one of the keynotes, and so he's just basically one of my favorite people ever to watch. But he talked about that he goes, why is an SEO keynoting at a PPC conference? again, he really talked about, I think one of the points that I got, not just from him, but we tried to cover in our session and a few other sessions, is that as brands, your customers aren't thinking about, your paid ad or your organic position or your TV ad or your social ad, whatever it is. There needs to be a cohesive message. Mm-hmm. I saw someone talk about this a while ago, but they were talking about like Geico and how they have these really awesome commercials, and then you go to their paid ad and it's like Geico insurance.
Yeah, it's true.
That doesn't match, right? So I got that out a lot of the sessions, so it was really nice to see that a lot of people are really thinking about how you integrate across your different channels.
Very interesting. The SMX Advanced coming up here in June. You're teaching the Content Marketing Mastery course as a workshop.
Yeah.
Kind of break that down. Sounds like it'll be a good workshop.
Yeah. So I actually did it at West, and they said, "Hey, do you want to do a workshop?" And I said, "Okay. What is that? What do I do?" So
right.
They were like, "You tell us."
Super helpful conversation. Yeah.
So, basically it's an entire day, which I was a little bit, nervous about. What the heck are we going to talk about for 8 hours? Turns out there's a lot.
Yeah.
So really, we spend some time breaking down some of the things that, we just talked about here. How do you identify your content gaps? How do you find content to repurpose? We also have some really great speakers that I'm excited about. So Olga from SEMrush, Maggie Malik from MMI, and then Mark Traphagen from Stone Temple. So pretty pumped to have those folks because, they're just all really, really good people. And so, the goal of the content workshop is really just for people to walk away with, okay, I can go back to my company and I now have tangible things to do. I now have content ideas. That's the question that always comes up, right? People just don't have ideas. How do you come up with ideas? And so this really just breaks down how we can leave, how we can come up with new ideas, use existing ideas, and make sure, going back to what we were talking about earlier, we have content for our customers. So I'm pretty excited about it. Excited that I have less work to do this time than the last time.
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
Usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we always end every interview with some fun questions. And so I was very, I don't know what the word is, but I love the story. Like, I've never heard this story before that you provided before the show.
I don't know why you would have heard a story like this before.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically,
well, my wife grew up on a farm. My mom grew up on a farm, so I thought I've never heard this part before. So go ahead and tell us about your cow.
Sure. Yeah. So the Gillette side of my family is a farming side, and so my uncle, they had a farm, and there was a cow born the same day that I was, and so he named it Casie. And I apparently really liked this cow. If you had a namesake cow, wouldn't you like it too?
Oh, yeah.
So, but that's not really the part that always really seals the story. I think it's, I was over there in high school and we were eating dinner. And I suppose when you live on a farm, I mean, I don't know, I never raised cows, but they're just very casual about talking about the cows that they're eating.
Sure.
So my cousins were like, what cow is this? And they're like, oh, this is so-and-so. Like, this is one of Casey's babies. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
I'm good. Bye.
I didn't eat beef for a really long time. And I still don't eat steak. I just can't.
Wow.
It scarred you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, their family does the dairy cows. When she was growing up, they do the beef, the Angus cows too.
Yeah,
my
grandpa,
grandpa,
it's not as terrifying when you're like, oh, I'm drinking milk from so-and-so's cow.
Yeah.
But when you're physically, I don't know how else you would eat it.
So I just got a half beef for my grandpa, so that's literally stocked in my freezer right now. So
it's everybody's favorite.
So now when I go eat a steak tonight, maybe a little.
Yeah.
You're gonna think about Casey's cow, Casie, and eating.
It's like, what's this cow's name?
Oh, that's weird.
I mean, that was a long generation of cows ago, so I don't know.
Well, sure, but now Tom's gonna start naming his steaks probably, just on an individual basis. We'll have to get a list together of possible steak names.
So on your personal website, I noticed that you're trying to hit all 50 states.
I am.
So what's next on the list? Do you have a target?
I do. So it's funny that you went to my personal website. I try not to broadcast that too much. because I don't actually do.
Oh, Tom's
researching.
Tom's also a stalker. Just in case. Sorry, we didn't really clarify.
As a fellow internet stalker.
Yes, as a fellow stalker. We went to your personal site that doesn't exist.
So this year, I think I will hit Colorado, which I somehow I don't count it if I just fly in there.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I've flown in and out of Denver, but that doesn't count. So I hit Alaska last year, and that was a really big one. So that one was pretty amazing, and I feel like that like makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Like down the road.
That is true.
So, but yeah, Colorado this year, maybe Utah. So just get some of those like Middle West states.
Yeah. I was trying to do the same thing too. In college, I was trying to hit a lot, and our college basketball team went to Branson, Missouri for our national tournament. Oh, nice. And so we went, and Arkansas was like 20 minutes away. And so on one of their off days, the group of friends were with like, let's go to Arkansas. So we went to Arkansas, and we drove into Arkansas and drove for like 10 miles, and there's like nothing there.
Right. Welcome to Arkansas. What did you expect was in Arkansas?
We found a Chinese restaurant in Arkansas. So we just ate at the Chinese restaurant and just drove back.
That counts.
So, but that counts. But that's my whole experience of Arkansas.
Never, that might be one of the last ones that happen.
I was going to say, I think that's everybody's experience of Arkansas. I don't have anybody to tell me differently because I don't know anybody else who's been to Arkansas that I can know.
Yeah.
You also had your life list on there. Well, I want to know what your next target is for that.
That's a good question.
Like a bucket list?
Yeah, like a bucket list. She
calls
it a life
list.
But
a life though, because I don't want to just be like, oh, I'm dying, I need a bucket.
I've never really thought about it like that. I thought it was just a check. All right, well.
I think, I don't know which one is next, but my biggest one is I do plan on taking my mother to Italy when she turns 60. So that's in a few years. So I think that'll be nice for her. Nice. I am planning a trip to Iceland. I can't remember if that is on my list or not, but that's on tap for this year.
Cool.
So we'll see. I have some like small things on there and some like big goals on there. We'll see how long it takes me. Maybe it is a bucket list by the time I turn 80.
I mean, there you go. Well, you can add eat Chinese food in Arkansas to your list, probably.
I've done that.
Take care of both the state thing
and eggs, and whatever the other thing is that I guess Chinese buffet. That'd be a weird one.
Well,
anyway.
Well, Casie, thanks so much for coming on the show. We really enjoyed the conversation and the rants and side conversations we had. Those,
Yeah, thank you guys.
I always make it more enjoyable.
So, listeners, go to KoMarketing.com/blog. Check out some of the work that they're doing there, and be sure to sign up for Casie's workshop that's happening at SMX Advanced. That's June. What is it? June 12th.
12th.
June 12th. That's in Seattle.
It is.
Yeah. Yep. So that's in Seattle. It lasts all day it's a 9 to 5 workshop, and that's the day before SMX, the conference starts. So we can also follow her on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is @CasieG, and that's CASIEG. And Instagram is Casie Gillette, as well as LinkedIn is linkedin.com/Casie Gillette. Casie, thanks again for coming on the show, and that will wrap it up for this week at Edge of the Web. Sign up for our newsletter at edgeofthewebradio.com, or you can sign up for 22828. Text the word Edge Talk. Again, that's sorry. Teleprompter didn't catch up. So that'll wrap it up for this show. Next week we're talking to Alex Nicholson. I think she's back in We're going back to Boston. So Alex Nicholson works for Pegasystems back in Boston. So we'll talk some social media next week. So that'll do it for us today. And as Aaron would say, since he's not here, do not be a piece of starboard driftwood. So
we got to update that someday.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just going to say now.